Welcome to Case Study Number 3, presented by Amanda Vidal, Rainier Cabrera, John Slocum, and Stuti Shah. Elements of our case review will include information about the ethical dilemma, information about the ethical decision-making model chosen, proposed resolution of the dilemma, importance of this ethical scenario for counseling professions, and possible advocacy efforts from the resolution. So here's a brief summary of our case. Alia is a licensed mental health counselor, and the friend of a past client referred a couple over to her for marital counseling. She agrees to this, even though her specialty is mental health counseling and has limited experience in marital and family counseling. From a business standpoint, it's understandable that she's trying to grow her business, and that would lead her to take on any new clients she could. But when she meets this couple, she quickly finds herself very overwhelmed and underprepared, and she felt like she was being more of a referee for the couple instead of a counselor. The couple did state afterwards that they felt heard for the first time in a very long time and felt very appreciative of Alia, but it left Alia a little unnerved, seeking guidance from her former supervisor that advised her to take additional training in couples therapy, and Alia decides to continue working with this couple under the supervision of her previous supervisor. So the situation that Alia is facing is being a mental health counselor and accepting a couples therapies case when she doesn't exactly have that kind of training and while still trying to grow her own business. Of course, the dilemma that ensues is struggling to manage this couple's conflict. How is she able to help versus harm them, and how can she remain competent as a counselor? And then, of course, we have the code of ethics that we should be as counselors operating within our scope of competence. In this case, Alia is not exactly living our code of ethics here, and this is where this ethical issue begins.
Florida laws, and as pointed out here, and the ethical violations are very clear. We have the statute, Chapter 41, the different ACA codes on what should have been followed. But more importantly, it states that referrals are mandatory when lacking specialized skills to treat the client properly. And in this case, this would certainly apply.
In doing the research, there were no notable U.S. government policies related to this case, but even so, there are some factors to consider. It was only in January 2024 that marriage and family counselors and mental health counselors could bill Medicare and Medicaid independently for counseling services. So, what does this mean? At a federal level, increased access became available for mental health services for users of Medicare and Medicaid. Another question may be, well, what about scope of practice? Well, scope of practice is definitely something that we want to take into consideration. That is something that is determined at the state level, though, and there are no federal policies that currently outline or dictate scope of practice when it comes to mental health.
This situation presents an ethical dilemma as Alia's decision to accept the couple as clients, despite her self-doubt regarding her ability to meet their needs, raises concerns about her professional competencies and accountability. The ethical standards dictate that counselors must work within their areas of expertise. Alia's recognition of her lack of experience in couples therapy suggests that she may be overstepping her professional limits, potentially harming the client or reducing the effectiveness of the therapy. Additionally, her tendency to favor client referrals over her own professional qualifications could compromise the quality of care delivered.
So the legal and ethical implications for Leia are as follows. Was there a violation of law? Uh, what ethical codes are violated? And also, what's the best resolution? And then we can see that she did take steps to improve or to comply with the situation. But these are the ethical implications and the legal implications that she's faced with.
Decision model. For decision model, I have that, recognize ethical concerns and professional limitations, assess potential risk to the client and therapist. In this case, assess the potential risk that Alia may have towards the clients, refer to the ACA Code of Ethics and professional standards, ensure actions align with ethical principles, which would be competency, integrity, client well-being, analyze analyze conflicting values, duty to help versus competency limits, um, assess personal, ethical, and professional consideration, continue therapy under supervision, refer the clients to a specialized therapist, continue therapy while pursuing further training, weight the risk and benefit of each options, um, consider the impact on client care, professional growth, and ethical responsibilities. Choose the most ethical and effective solution. Maintain transparency with the client regarding the decision, monitor client progress, and assess therapy effectiveness. Seek supervision and feedback. Adjust the plan if necessary, including referral if needed. Ethical decision making model and recommendation. Identified the problem was that Alia lacks experience in couples counseling. Cultural factors could complicate therapy. Ethical dilemma would be should she continue or refer the couple? Applied ethical guidelines would be ACA Code of Ethics, cultural competency, working within expertise, seeking supervision, prioritize client well being while maintaining professional integrity. Determine the nature of dilemma would be Alia feels an obligation to help but recognizes her limitation, concern over ineffective therapy, worse feeling of abandonment if referred. General possible course of action would be continue with supervision, refer the couples to a specialized therapist, continue while enrolling in advanced training. Evaluated potential consequences would be supervision allows experience while ensuring ethical care. Referral maintains ethical standards but risks disrupting the therapeutic bond. Training improves competencies. Training improves competency but may not immediately benefit the couple. Selected and implemented to best action would be choose to continue therapy under supervision while pursuing additional training, maintained transparency with the couple about supervision and professional development, followed up and evaluated. The decision part would be monitor the couple's progress and Alia's competency, adjusted the plan if needed, including potential referral if therapy was ineffective.
So the importance of this ethical scenario across relevant professions. So this ethical dilemma pertains to various counseling fields, especially mental health counseling, marriage and family therapy, and school counseling. Mental health counseling, so professionals within this specific field, such as Alea, must remain aware of their competencies and avoid taking on clients outside their expertise. This dilemma demonstrates the necessity of adhering to one's skill set to avoid and prevent unethical practices and potential harm for all clients. In regards to this scenario, which is marriage, couple, and family therapy, practitioners in this specific area need to navigate specifically rational issues properly and ethically. So, in order to reduce risk and guarantee successful treatment outcomes while adhering to the code of ethics, this case highlights the significance of specialized training and supervision while working with couples. In regards to school counseling, this case is not directly related to school counseling, but it does serve as a warning to school counselors to be aware of their own limitations. They must know when to refer students and families to qualified specialists for the right kind of help and to be aware of their own expertise, particularly when dealing with family related issues.
So to summarize the competence and the ethics when it comes to the law, competence dictates that our Florida law requires demonstrated competence in licensed practice areas. Uh, Ethical action is referral is the correct legal and ethical action to protect client welfare and professional integrity. And then there are consequences for violating these laws and ethics, which can lead to disciplinary action from state and licensing boards.
Potential issues related to cultural and diversity. The couple may have different beliefs about marriage, gender roles, and family expectations based on cultural backgrounds. Power dynamics and expectations for emotional expression may vary, affecting communication and conflict resolution. Stigma around seeking therapy. Some cultures view counseling as a last resort of associate it with personal failure. The couple only sought therapy due to trusted friends' referral, which may indicate initial reluctance or skepticism. Language and communication barriers. If English is not their first language, misunderstanding or misinterpretation may arise. Different cultural norms regarding emotional expression. Some may be more reserved, while others may be more expressive or confrontational.
So here's some key actions and some steps that we took towards a solution. So if Alia were to be faced with this exact same scenario, we would want her to put the client first, right? And be able to instead refer the couple to a therapist that is trained to work with couples. If, however, she were to still proceed in the same way of wanting to take on those clients, she needs to disclose to that couple what credentials that she does have, that she is working on, adding marriage and family or couples therapy into her repertoire, and that her sessions will be monitored by a supervisor. Of course, making sure that she is seeking that additional and formal training to be a couples therapist, to expand her competency, and then consulting with a supervisor as necessary to review any ethical considerations and keep herself getting into any potential legal risks.
Advocacy efforts proposed. Promoting cultural competence in counseling. Advocate for continued education and training in multicultural competency for therapists. Encourage organizations to provide resources and workshops on cultural sensitivity in therapy. Enhancing supervision and mentorship programs. Support initiatives that require early career therapists to have access to supervision when working outside their area of expertise. Advocate for mentorship programs that pair novice therapists with experienced professional in specialized field. Expanding access to specialized training. Push for funding or scholarship for therapists seeking advanced training in couple and multicultural therapy. Encouraging academic programs to integrate specialized coursework on working with diverse couples, improving client access to qualified therapists, promote referral networks that ensure clients can easily find specialized therapists when needed, advocate for policies that encourage interdisciplinary collaboration to improve client outcomes, raising awareness on ethical decision making and counseling, support discussions and policy changes that emphasize ethical responsibility in professional practice, and develop workshops and seminars focused on ethical dilemmas and best practices in therapy.